What's up, HCWA fans? I'm the Lawdog, Brent Lawson, and you've got your beady little eyes focused on a brand new episode of Shootin' with the Lawdog, and we're coming at you from the HCWA headquarters. And today, it is my pleasure to be with the president and co-founder of HCWA Wrestling, JB Smooth. How you doing, JB Smooth? Wait a minute. JB Smooth, man, you got a little furrier since last time I saw you. You got your little flavor saver going on.
I got the big beard going on right now. A lot of people call it my COVID beard. It's not. It's my wife beard. Since I got married, she likes the fuzzy face.
Oh, okay.
So, under penalty of wife, I got the beard going on. She don't like me to trim it or anything like that. So, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't care. I'm still JB. I'm still the coolest dude in school. Anyway.
All right.
So what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Let's get right into it then.
Let's do it.
For the HCW fans out there in TV land or internet land. My first question is, how old were you when you decided that you wanted to be in the wrestling business?
Oh, Lord, now. How old was I? I don't know if I actually ever decided to be in the wrestling business. It more just kind of happened that way.
All right. Well, that leads us to my next question. How did you get into the wrestling business?
Well, that's an interesting question. I guess I was in my 30s. I was in my 30s when I got into the wrestling business. I've been a casual fan of wrestling up through the years. In the 80s. I always had buddies that were into wrestling, kind of got me into watching wrestling too. So in the 80s, I had a buddy like in elementary school and high school coming up that was into it, and I was into that era. And then once the 90s came, the Monday Night Wars, Attitude Era,
great time to be a wrestler.
And Nitro, I was watching all of that, and then kind of got out of it in the early 2000s. Kind of would flip over and watch it every now and then. So I was more of a casual fan. I like watching. I was into the Monday Night Wars.
Who can forget when Steve Austin went to Brian Pillman's house with the gun, and the ending of Raw that night is when the gunshot went off. You're like, what the hell just happened? I mean, it was crazy.
I missed that moment. I've seen some other moments though. I remember when NWO buried Ric Flair alive on Nitro. That was interesting. Nobody had ever really seen anything quite like that. People have different opinions on whether that was a good thing to do or not, but they did it. So, and then the company went down the drain. So who knows? Who knows? I ain't putting any blame on that. But to go back to the other question, how did I get into the wrestling business? I'd actually was working at a place. I will not mention the name of it. There's no need to. I refer to it as the hellhole. We'll leave it at that. I was working at a place, and I was one of the supervisors in one of the departments.
You worked at Martinsville? You worked at Martinsville?
No, I didn't work at Martinsville.
I know.
But I was a supervisor there, and then they hired a man to work under me. And his name just so happened to be Robert Stanley. So me and Robert Stanley, who, as you know, has had many names in HCWA, but
Raging Rebel,
he's
Problem Child, just to name a few.
Yeah, just to name two, and there's probably about 5 or 6 more. And some of them that he doesn't call himself that others might call him, but that's not the point right now. So I met him working at the hellhole, and we got to talking. And at the time, he was traveling the circuit, going to Tennessee and going all these places, getting bookings. And we were talking about wrestling, and he said he was a wrestler, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so we were talking about it, and he'd tell me about his travels and going all these places. And I said, well, I used to watch it. I haven't really watched it much. So then again, I got a buddy who was watching wrestling, kind of got me back into it, and I started watching again. This was in the late 2000s, I think, like 7, 8, 9, when we was working at the place, and and he had started a new partnership with somebody that I will not name. I won't dwell on that too much, but he started a new partnership with somebody, and they were having a show, and he invited me to come and watch the show. I paid, of course. And it was a Valentine's. It was the John Chilton Memorial Show, actually, and it was. I think that year it
That
actually
was your first show?
landed. That was the first independent show that I went to. I was in the crowd. I just went to check it out.
That was actually my first HCWA show. 2019 was the John Chip Memorial Show in February.
I mean, mine was 2009 was mine. So there you go. John Chilton show has always been the prime show. We look at that in HCWA as our WrestleMania. That's always been, knowing Mr. Stanley, for a while, that was one of the first things he talked about was his relationship with John, and that was the first show. Since that was the first show I went to, I saw, the dedication and everything at the beginning of the show, and I knew that was, a big deal, a serious thing. So I went to the show, and we were enjoying it. There was some good action. I'm 42 now, just to put it out there. Well, I will be in a couple weeks. So the memory's gone just a little bit, but so I can't remember any of the matches or whatever. But I do remember one thing. I don't even know if there was a ring announcer, or if there was, you couldn't really hear them or understand them, but there wasn't really a big personality. I'll put it like that. There wasn't a big personality that was telling you who was wrestling. So after the show, actually, I think we had to work the next day, and me and I'll just call him Robbie, make it even. Me and Robbie were working the next day, and he was like, "So what'd you think of the show?" And I'm like, "It was really cool. Matches were good, some good action, but I didn't know who anybody was because the ring announcer wasn't really." And I actually come from kind of a broadcast background. I graduated in 2000 from Appalachian State. I actually have a broadcast journalism degree, which I'm not really using too much. I guess you could say performing in front of the camera now for HCWA. Yeah, I'm setting up a PA system. I'm kind of using it, not really, but and I was on the radio for 4 years at Appalachian State on the radio station, and they were actually award-winning radio station. Now I'm bragging about myself, but anyway, what's wrestling if not bragging about yourself, really? I mean, when it comes down to it, self-promotion is the main idea.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Tell me something, brother. But so we were talking about it. We were talking about it the next day. I said, I didn't really, and Robbie knew my background with DJing and everything, and I had been in a few plays and stuff in high school, and I just always kind of been comfortable in front of people talking, when we had to do projects in school and group projects. I would always volunteer to be. A lot of people don't like it, and I'd always, I don't mind getting in front of people and talking. I've always kind of thrived on that. So we were talking about it, and I told him, there wasn't really a good. I don't want to insult anybody. I can't even remember who the ring announcer was, if there was one. But it wasn't good. And I told him that. He was like, I saw him thinking for a second, and then he said, "Well, would you want to do that?" And I had never really. I think that was probably my second independent show, because I think I had gone to one before. I had gone to a couple before that, but that was the first one under this new banner and this new partnership that Robert got into. So yeah, I had seen a couple shows before, and I had never really thought about it. But he said, "Well, why don't you do it?" And right there, he came up with this idea. He was like, "Yeah, you could wear a backwards Kangol cap like Sam Jackson, and you could be." This was all just off the top of his head. We were in the middle of doing our work, he said, "Why don't you can be JB Smooth?" And I won't divulge the government name right now. Y'all can just continue to know me as JB. But he said, "You can be JB Smooth," and I said, "All right, well, we'll give it a go." And that's how I got in. I got into this promotion. It wasn't HCWA. It was a precursor to HCWA. But so they brought me in as the ring announcer. Green didn't really know much. Didn't know a whole lot about wrestling. I watched it before, but I couldn't really name. I could name some of the moves. Like Diamond Cut, like the big high-profile moves, but some of the more subtle, fundamental wrestling. I didn't know all that stuff, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into with the wrestling crowd too, the way the fans react and everything. And I'll tell you, that first show,
you won't see crowds like that in any other sport.
That first show was kind of rough, and I actually didn't wear a backwards Kangol cap. It was that kind of style, and it actually came. My aunt went to France, and she actually bought it in France, so it was like a legit hat. But I got called a few names, some derogatory names, a little bit before they even I just walked out to the ring, and people, how wrestling fans are, and
fickle. Sometimes they fickle.
And I had some cards with some information written down. I got heat for that. Like, you should remember. The crowd was on me. I hadn't even hardly said a word yet, and they were on me. And so I went out, and I was nervous. Even to this day, everybody, a lot of guys will say, "Oh no, I'm good." But there's not a wrestler or a performer in this business that don't have just that little bit of, nerves before you go out of that curtain. Butterflies, if you will, flying around in their stomach. Now, how long they last, it depends. If there's a big match, something that's been building, butterflies may be this big. That day they were pretty big for me, because I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. So, but now, you have the butterflies, but as soon as you go out in that curtain and you see the crowd and you hear the crowd, they fly away, and then it's go time. That adrenaline, as soon as that adrenaline kicks in, those butterflies fly right out your ears, and you ready to go.
Well, it don't hurt to have a 6'7" bodyguard with you too.
Yeah, that helps too. I'm pretty comfy knowing Joe's got my back. 3J. Well, this is yeah. It's okay for me to call him Joe on this, because this is a down and dirty interview. So anyway, I went out, and I started off kind of rough. I didn't really know what to do. But by the end of the show, I was like, okay, by the end of the show, I was cracking some jokes, and the crowd was kind of starting to get into it. And then, a couple shows into it, I started getting my style. This second show, I put my own style into it, and I got the fedora. I was like, the people didn't like the hat that I wore. I'm like, okay, they didn't like the hat, So I was wearing a suit, and I've found a nice little fedora, and that's where that look started. Now I've been rocking the Adidas jumpsuit, but the original look was suit and the fedora and the shades. So I got that. I started dancing a little bit. The crowd liked the dancing. I got to where I didn't have the cards. I was like, which it was. I still, everybody makes mistakes. I called the wrestler the wrong name a couple times. It happens. And
I've called moves wrong. I've called wrestlers wrong.
It happens in the heat of the
happens,
moment.
Yeah.
Just stuff happens. And what makes it easier is if dudes got the name on the trunks. I like that. I like when they got the name on the trunks, because you can just, sometimes you might have to look at a guy's ass to see their name. I ain't saying I like to do that, but if you forget somebody's name and it's written on their ass,
HCWA fans.
if you forget a dude's name and the name is written on their ass, hey, I looked at a dude's ass. I'm sorry, you heard it here first. I don't give a damn. Yes, all right, whatever.
It doesn't matter. He looks at guys' asses.
It's bad that I looked at the dude's ass, or that he put his name on his ass, so everybody's got to look at his ass to get his name. I mean, I think he's got more issues than I do. Anyway, moving along. We got to move this along.
So
we're talking about acid too much. So
that's just asinine.
So this is an assault on a good interview. Anyway, we're moving along, getting off the asses.
So it's safe to say Robert Stanley gave you your first big break in wrestling.
Yes, actually he did, and thank you for that segue. He gave me my first. He gave me my first break. I started out. I did the announcing for a while, and it got pretty good. The crowd. I got some crowd support. There was actually a group of ladies that made up some T-shirts that said JB Smoothies, and they had like a little smoothie on it.
That was your fan club?
Yeah, I had a little fan club. I had the JB
I like
Smoothies.
It.
And I always thought about opening up like a smoothie shop, maybe an adult smoothie shop. Anyway, so it was going all right, and then that promotion, there was Robert Stanley left that promotion, and then shortly after he left, I left. There was some things. People who know us will know the details of this story, so there's no need to go into that right now. But so we both left that promotion, and I think Robbie was still wrestling in some other places, but we had both kind of taken a break for a few months. I don't know if it was a whole year, but it was a few months, and then I got a different job. Robbie and I weren't working together anymore. I got a different job, and he was still at the same place. And one of our buddies, AC, was having a show in Myrtle Beach, and it was going to be a real whirlwind trip, because I think Robbie worked like that Friday and had to be back on Saturday. So we were going to go down Friday. I think we went down Saturday. Yeah, we went down Saturday because we drove right straight to the show. And Robbie was driving. I think it took us about 3 hours and 15 minutes to get to the beach, something like that. I mean, he was getting it. Driving my car, by the way, just to put that out there. Driving my car, we got to the beach.
He put wings on it.
Yeah, he did. He was lead foot, and I was over in the passenger car, like, man, I didn't know my car could get into like the quadruple digits, but all right. So we got down there, and I didn't announce the show. I just went. I brought all my gear. I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing. Robbie talked to him, so he had a match in the show, and I actually wound up doing commentary, which I hadn't done real commentary before, so I was green at that too. So I just kind of winged it, and I had somebody else that had been in the business a while, and he knew what was going on, and he was setting up a new character, and he kind of, so that went pretty well, and we both had fun, and driving back, I could already see it. But then, I could see Robbie was getting the itch again to get back into wrestling. I could see it in his eyes. And so I don't know if we started talking about it right then, but very shortly after that trip, we started talking about starting our own promotion. And we talked about it, and then we decided to go ahead and do it, and HCWA was born.
And this is the 9-year anniversary of HCWA 2020. Am I not right? 9 years,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Now you tested my memory again, man. I told you, but yes, it's the nine year. So I guess that would be 2011. No. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 2011. See, math, like, hey, man. I know dancing and making a fool out of myself, and I don't know math, and oh, thank you. Great facial. Yeah. So HCWA was born, and I started out as the announcer in that, and then then a year in,
you became president.
I worked a little deal that made me the sole control of HCWA for a while. And
Tell me, it wasn't no backstage politicking now.
No, there was pretty much some underhanded in front of the crowd politicking. We don't have to get into the dirty details. For HCWA fans that know HCWA history, they know what happened. Well, I'll say it. I stole the company from Robert Stanley, basically.
Oh wow!
There was a contract signing. There was a contract signing for a match between him and the Outlaw Wayne Taylor, which I know you've interviewed Outlaw before on this show, I believe.
One half of the Extreme Southern Outlaws.
Yes, sir. And I've had some history with the
Tag Team
Extreme
Champions.
Southern Outlaws, going back to the previous promotion we worked for. When I was an announcer, the Extreme Southern Outlaws used to mess with me all, to steal my hat and take my shades and all kind of stuff. So there was a history there.
You messing with me too, always poking me and chopping me.
But yeah, so there was going to be a match. Outlaw had actually hanged Robbie over the top rope on a show that I missed. The Outlaw had taken me out. Oh, whoa, hey man, my future's so bright. Never mind. So
you gotta wear shades.
Yeah, you got it. And I wear my sunglasses at night and inside, and whatever. But thank you for that lighting, dude. I appreciate that. So anyway, Outlaw had taken me out for, I can't even remember why. He had taken me out. He had taken Robbie out, and so there was a contract signing for a street fight between the two of them. And I got this devious plan. I guess you could say I was power hungry. I'm not going to get into all my reasonings for that. But there was an extra page to the contract that if Robbie had taken the time to read the actual contract before he signed it, then he might not have signed it. But it was releasing all control HCWA over me. It was actually 2 pages. 1 page is where I signed it, because I was actually the guest referee in the match. And so yeah, I tricked Robert Stanley into signing a contract, turning all control over to HCWA. That's basically what happened. So then the match happened, and then at the end of the match, I turned on him. My friend and co-founder and partner, yeah, I turned on him at the end of the match, and got a little bit more heat that night than I did that first night I went out to announce. Got a little bit more heat. There was about a 5-second pause, and then I heard some things that I'd never heard before, and some things that I had heard before, but nobody had ever really called me that before. And then, so, yeah, I turned on him. I hit him with a steel chair and made him bleed everywhere.
Wow.
I mean, hey, we've all done things that we may regret in our life, right?
Lord knows I have. I wish I could take some of the stuff back I done.
But years later, we're good. We're good now. And I mean, he got me into the business, and to this day, he's keeping me into the business. Because, like I said, I was a more casual fan, and I'll put this out there too. I don't have the passion for wrestling that all the wrestlers do, and that you guys do, the commentators and guys. I don't have the passion for it, but I do have a lot of loyalty, I'll tell you that. And when we first started talking about starting this business, I gave him my word that I would be in this business, and it's been tough. It's been tough sometimes. Both of us have been really tested at times whether we want to keep doing it.
I've heard Robert say on several different occasions that other independent promotions in the surrounding areas, when he started, said HCWA would not last.
Oh yeah, they were
now
down this.
9 years in,
Yeah.
and some of them places has already shut down. that just goes to show you the staying power and the popularity
Yeah.
of HCWA.
Yeah, well, there was a couple promotions specifically that don't exist anymore. There was some promotions that doubted if we could last, but we're cool. We were cool with them. A couple promotions that were like straight up competition that
Now defunct.
are now defunct. So, but what's kept me in the business is I'll tell you, is my loyalty to Robbie, because there's been times that I've told him, I'm like, man, I can't deal with this anymore, because this is wrestling. There's politics, and one of the reasons why that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan now, because I'm in the business. I see the backstage stuff going on. I know the politics within promotions, and then from different promotions, politics, and different promotions booking the same guys, and I mean there's a lot going on. There's drama, and it's kind of I don't know what the right word is, but it's just kind of lessened my enthusiasm as a fan, being an insider in the business. I guess you could say.
You know too much.
Yeah,
The mask has been pulled off. You know too much.
I can still turn on and enjoy watching it. I'll watch some of the pay-per-views, and I actually watched AEW this past. Can I say it? Can I talk about another? Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. So I watched AEW, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that this past Wednesday.
Hell of a match.
And I'll just put it out there too. Yeah, that Jericho and Orange Cassidy. I call him Orange Julius because I can't ever remember Cassidy. Again, this goes with the memory thing. I mean, I don't know.
CRS kicks in it for you.
Yeah, the orange guy, Orange Juice. He because they poured orange juice on him. But
yeah,
he impressed me, and I could still sit and enjoy wrestling. But I will say this too. That I have gotten mad. I have turned on wrestling and turned it right back off when I see some of the big boys, and no saying any names, but stealing certain things. I'll just keep it at things from the independent guys. I mean, it happens. You would think that the big boys could come up with their own stuff and not have to search YouTube and steal stuff from the independents, but it happens.
I remember one instance just in the last year I've been in it. There was a pin that took place.
I know what you're going to say.
Under the ring, and then a couple weeks later, it was done on another show on a network, on a big promotion. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and drop the name too. It was done in HCWA, and then WWE did it. Like 2 weeks. What?
I'm glad he said it.
Yeah. Hey, you know me. I haven't really been afraid to say, much of anything as JB Smooth, whether I was accepted. I'll put it this way: whether I was accepted by the crowd or rejected by the crowd, I've never really been afraid. And I think it was about 3 weeks after we did it that WWE did it. And I'll put that out there. I mean.
Yep,
There's been other stuff. There's been other stuff that's been stolen from. I will not go into that right now.
That's just one thing.
You gave the good example of something that happened with us that was stolen by the big boy. Yeah, within the last year. There's been a few other things too, and that's kind of got me mad too. But I'll say my loyalty to Robbie has kept me in the business, and we've been through some shit. I'll just put it like that. We've been through some hell and shit through this, but we've stayed strong. We've survived some other companies coming in and trying to knock us out. We've survived wrestlers coming in and quitting and leaving and coming back. I mean, we've survived all kinds of trials and tribulations, and we take pride. We're in our 9th year, heading towards that decade. Once we get to that decade, that's going to be, that's big.
That's going to be a hell of a show.
I mean,
when I look at Robbie now, I can see the wheels turning, going around, if you will, for that 10th anniversary show coming up next year.
When you consider there's some big budget Hollywood shows that don't last even 5 years. Television shows last a couple years and get canceled. And for us to be pushing 10 years now, I mean, that I
It's
take
outstanding.
a lot of pride in that.
Outstanding. And we have such a loyal following.
We've
been to Winston-Salem. We've been to Roxborough, Mayodan, Wentworth. Everywhere we go, we see the same people and a lot of new people coming too. So
and I say
the word's getting out. HCWA is where it's at, guys.
I say this from the bottom of my heart too. The HCWA fans are the best fans in the world, and I'm not just saying that. We've gotten so much support from fans, like on a personal basis, just like not even the wrestling, like just checking in on us as people, like making sure we're good. And our fans are the best.
I'd like to say that HCWA was on BTW prime time 2 years.
That's right. I almost forgot. I was on that show a lot. It was. This is funny. It was a Christian television station
In Martinsville,
in Martinsville that we were on for 2 years in prime time, 7 o'clock, I believe, on Tuesdays. Yeah, Tuesdays, Thursdays. We did the live show on Tuesdays, and then they were showing our show different times throughout the week too. And I mean, this was like public access, but it was a Christian station, and they had never really seen anything like HCWA on this TV station, but we got them good ratings, and that's in this business. That's what works. Eventually we got out of that. They had made some changes. I forget exactly what led to the partnership breaking up. But yeah, we were on television. We were the halftime show at a Carolina Cobras Arena football league game. 2018, 2019? 2019. We were the halftime show at a Carolina Cobras football game. So yeah, HCWA's done a lot of things,
making strides.
and I'm proud of that. Like, not having the passion for wrestling, I do enjoy entertaining people. Everybody knows I like to dance. That's no big question. And just the response of our fans. And like, we've had many fans come up and tell us, and how they enjoy the show. I've had wrestlers come and tell us they enjoy coming to work for us because we give guys a chance. There's some other promotions that bring in guys like, this is what you're doing. I don't care what you did over there. This is what you're doing tonight. You're jobbing out. You're doing this, whatever. Go do it. We try to give the guys some say-so. Like, not every idea that everybody pitches is used, but a lot of times it is. We give the guys some input in what they want to do. Of course, the promoter always, promoter's the boss, has the final say, but we've always been flexible and tried to give the guys input on their characters, on what they want to do, and a lot of guys have told us that they like coming back to HCWA because of that. They feel they have more freedom.
Speaking of characters, who were your influences? I know you said Robert Stanley helped you come up with JB Smooth, but in order to get that character just right, finely tuned, who in your mind did you have in your mind when you start putting everything together for the character?
I think a lot of it was just subconscious stuff that I had watched before that just kind of came out of me when I got out there. I don't know that I would have any like specifics. I mean, there were a few obvious. I'm a big sci-fi fan. I'll say I'm a sci-fi nerd. You can call me a nerd, whatever you want to call me. I don't really care. But Star Wars was one of the first movies I ever saw as a kid. So I mean, to this
1977.
day, to this day, well, I was born in '78, but so.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, it was big. It came out in '77. It was big, and it was. I mean, I think I was 2 years old, and I remember seeing that movie, having the figures and everything. So I'm a big Star Wars head. So there was a little Darth Vader when I
Really?
when I was a bad guy. When I was describing what I did to Robert Stanley to Steel, and then the JB Smooth Enterprise. The Enterprise was born. there was a little Darth Vader, you know, the maniacal, powerful guy. There was a little bit of Darth Vader in it. Now,
if you could, would you use the Force on some of the wrestlers?
Oh yeah, I've wanted to Force choke the hell out of some of them sometimes.
What about Mr. Stanley?
Well, and he's probably wanted to do that to me too. You know, being a business partners, you got your ups and downs. You know, we're friends. We're you know, I'll just say it. You know, we're best friends. We're business partners. You know, we've been through that. I mean, I don't know if anybody ever watched the Chappelle Show and saw the Rick James, where Rick James and Charlie Murphy would kick each other, punch each other in the chest. But then they were friends after that. They talk it out. They were friends after that. That's a pretty good description of Robert Stanley and art, as far as like in the wrestling world too, because we've been in matches together. I mean, we were in a cage match where I had to spend 5 minutes in the cage with him, and you know, people in HCWA know I'm not the most trained person. I've been in some matches. I've done some things in the ring. I've trained minimally. I'll put it at that. And I'm not trying to be a wrestler. I'm trying to, you know, entertain people, give the wrestlers that have the passion for this business the opportunity to come to our company and do their thing in the ring. And I don't want to take away from them for me getting in there and wrestling. Now, sometimes it calls for me, the, you know, storylines and everything is called for me to get in there. So I've done that. But this particular time, when I was on the rejected side and Robbie was on the accepted side, I'm talking from the fans. Right, I was 5 minutes in the cage with him, and he chopped me pretty hard. He got me in the rings of Saturn. He had me crying a little bit. I think, you know, he made my teeth click a little bit. I felt like maybe I was bleeding inside my chest a little bit. But you know, we moved. He pile drove me one time too.
Wow.
That was pretty. You know, when we had flipped, and then he was rejected and I was accepted, and he dropped me on the top of my head. So we've been through a lot of stuff.
Speaking of storylines, in the course of y'all's relationship with the two different promotions you have talked about,
mm-hmm.
Has there ever been a specific storyline that you wanted to be part of, that you asked to be part of?
Well, maybe, probably, but you know, we've always talked stuff over. I mean, and you know, like I said, with us giving guys input, you know, if it was actually my idea to go to the other side,
the dark side, if you will.
Yeah, dark side, if you will. It was because I had been doing the announcing thing, and I just felt like, you know, I wanted to challenge. That was basically what it was. I wanted to see if I could do it.
You want to see if you had the darkness in you.
You know, I wanted to challenge. You know, and we're talking. You know, this is, you know, we're just talking. Like, I guess, you know, we may be breaking kayfabe by some of what we're saying here. Like, you know,
it's a shoot interview.
Some of those who are watching may not know what kayfabe is. All the wrestlers watching know what kayfabe is. But yeah, it was my idea to go heel, if you will. And Robbie was a little hesitant at first. But then the more we talked about it, I'm like, come on, I can do it. And
he wanted you to stay Qui-Gon Jinn, and you wanted to go Darth Vader.
yeah, something like that. And the other thing,
we want to talk about your double-bladed lightsaber, though.
No, we won't talk about that. The JB Smoothies number. No, anyway. No. But yeah, you got me on track with the double-bladed lightsaber comment. But yeah, so we've always thought if there was something I wanted to do, or you know, Robbie and I would talk about these things. You know, I wanted to challenge. I'd been, you know, the entertaining guy, the announcer and everything. And also, when we first started HCWA, there wasn't that figurehead, if you will, like the commissioner or, you know, VM coming out and making decisions and everything. People knew that Robbie and I had teamed together to start the promotion, but there wasn't really that boss, that figurehead that, you know, people, you know, feared, you know, to come out and make important decisions. So and that was some of the in you know, in that storyline, that was some of the inspiration too. It's like we need somebody who's the boss, and so I became the evil boss, you know, if you will. And you know, you were, and to go back to something else you were saying, you were talking about, you know, what was my inspirations, and I said Darth Vader. To get back into like the wrestling world, you know, since I didn't watch a whole lot of wrestling, you know, I really tried to be an original too. I tried, you know, everyone eventually in the wrestling business, whether intentionally or not intentionally, may, well, use somebody else, steal, I'll just say steal, screw it. Steal a little something, a little move or a little, you know, style or something from somebody that came before them. It happens. I tried not to do that, but it happened. It happened. You know, it happens. But not watching wrestling as much, I was a little more, you know, I was thinking of myself as a little bit more original. Now, you know, I'll you know, Jim Cornette, you know, I've watched his stuff after the fact and everything, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of, you know, maybe subconsciously, or, you know, he had the
All Elite Dangerous League.
Yeah, he had the
Gary Hart, maybe.
Well, Cornette had the tennis racket. I used a wooden cane for a while. So, you know, there's you could draw some, you know. And when I was the president, I was managing the JV Smooth Enterprises too. So I was out there getting involved in matches and, you know, helping my guys in the ring and everything too. So, and I've had others say, hey, that's a lot like this, that's a lot like this person, that's a lot like this person. I never intentionally set out to be like, I'm going to do a Cornette thing, I'm going to do Bobby the Brain thing, I'm going to do this. I was trying to be myself, but naturally there may be, you know, maybe some overlap. Maybe some Eric Bischoff maybe mixed in there, because I was a Nitro guy, I was a WCW guy.
A little Vince Russo.
And I'll tell you, the wrestlers I like. I mean, everybody liked Sting, what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
You know, I liked Diamond Dallas Page, what he was doing. You know, the whole Goldberg thing got everybody, you know, riled up back then. But I was a Harlem Heat guy too. And Booker T. You know, and when people are talking about, oh, their favorite wrestlers, like Booker T don't come up a whole lot. But I always bring him up, and everybody's like, really, Booker T? I'm like, man, Spinner Rooney, like, just his style, the way he could talk. He was 5-time champion. He was King Booker at one point, which, you know, like, some people, that whole king thing, you know, like, some kings are more worthy than others. I'll leave it at that.
I don't care much for King Corbin. I'll just put that out there.
I agree. I agree with you, but we can move on from that. But yeah, I mean, as there was some movie bad guys too that may come up in there. Like, I've watched Training Day a whole lot of times, so there may have been a little bit of Denzel in there too.
A little bit Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, I think maybe. When I was the ring announcer, I was just being me, really. You know, I didn't really have any. I wasn't trying to be any other ring, and I got some heat for it from other wrestlers, because I would talk a little trash to the wrestlers, make fun of them, and some of them would say, hey, you can't do that and everything. I'm like, well, I'm trying to do my own thing.
You can do what you want to do. You're the president.
And well, even before I was the president, when I was just coming in when I was just the announcer for the for the previous promotion. But yeah, now that I'm the president, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna say do what I want to. I mean, to be honest, I mean, you know, I put the blood, sweat. Well, Robbie and I both put the blood, sweat, and tears into HCWA to make it what it is. It's not just us either. It's been all the wrestlers, you guys, all the commentators, you know, everybody. But I mean, we've, you know, with the financial stuff, and it's been tough. It's been tough. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say, hey, it's been easy. No, it's been tough sometimes. And, you know, just keeping up with the ring. I mean, there's certain maintenance things, and it seems like with every turn, something's you got to replace something. There's another thing we got to get.
Just like a car.
Yeah, we had to get the box truck. I mean, it seemed like there's always something. So I mean, there's a big financial burden. Even on its own. Even without all the emotional and like drama stuff that can pop up too, but and that's what's keeping me. I've put too much into this now to just quit. Roles may change. We're not getting any younger. Every wrestler faces. Some sooner than others. Every wrestler faces time when their body just won't do it anymore. I mean, and we've seen it with the big guys. I mean, Undertaker just
announced. Oh my God, one of my favorites.
Undertaker just announced his retirement, and
ride.
That's sad. But then
Yeah.
I kind of feel happy for him. I'm like, you're not gonna get beat to hell anymore, man. And I know wrestlers, and I know several that have retired and then come back, and it's hard to let go. I know that. And it's tough on the wrestlers, but when you look at it, it's like your body's not going to take.
One of the most popular wrestlers in the world.
Yeah. And, there are guys still. Jimmy Valiant. How old is Jimmy? How old is Boogie now? I mean, he's like close to like 100 years old, and he is still doing it. And so it's. It pulls guys into the business, and it's hard to give up the business. I see that. So, but roles can change. You can stop wrestling. You can become a manager. You can still do something in that's the great thing about the business. I mean, how many wrestlers have gotten injured and gone and sat at the commentary table for a few months till they got back.
Most recently, Dr. Blackstone.
Yep, in our company. I mean, and you look at
Samoa Joe now.
Samoa Joe, and so they sit at that table for a while, get that experience. They may or may not return to the ring, but then after their wrestling career's over, they got a fallback. They could go and do commentary, and still stay and be a part of the business.
Be a viable asset.
That's the thing about the business. Yeah. And I'm kind of rambling. I forgot what the question was. I actually forgot what we were talking about. Again, my memory's not so good.
All right, I'll go to the next question then.
Okay.
Since you and Robert Stanley have been in this partnership, has there ever been a time that you have left the business? Or have you pretty much stayed nose to the grindstone with it?
Yeah. We've taken a while. Not necessarily left the business. We've taken a couple breaks for various reasons that had to do with the wrestling business and didn't have to do with the wrestling business. Everybody's got a life outside of wrestling too. I mean, we're in independence. I mean,
we've all got shoe jobs.
We act like it, but we act like this is our only job, and we act like this certain way, but we all got real job. I'll say real jobs. You say shoot jobs. To pay the rent and pay the bills and feed the kids. I mean, so, and we've all got families. We all, sometimes our mamas and daddies get sick. And we got, and we got to take a little break for that. So. And like I said, when we were in the other promotion, we both left that promotion. So, and that was a little break before we started HCWA. And then now that we've started HCWA, obviously we're taking a break now because of this virus that's running rampant through the country. We're taking a break now. Back in the winter, we had to take a little break to get some personal matters, ironed out. So yeah, there's been a few times. It hadn't, COVID-19 aside, it hasn't been anything longer than a couple months, usually a couple of shows. And I mean, sometimes we've had to cancel a show because of weather, something like that. We have taken a couple of extended breaks when we needed to. So
Come on now, you're a music man. Queen. Show must go on.
well, and has it not?
It
Except,
has.
I mean, right now we're
It has.
you know,
9
to be-
years,
to be
guys.
honest, to be honest, you know, we're being overly cautious. We want to make sure that it's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do.
when we come back. We want to make
Being
sure.
overly cautious, I mean.
Yes, yeah. We want to make sure it's the right time. I know I've seen on TV. I know NBA's got their bubble. I know UFC is doing their thing on an island somewhere. NASCAR, you know, we've seen these other things, and that's what they're doing. That's right for them. But ultimately, it's up to us to decide what's right for us. And when it's right for us is when HCWA will come back. And you know, just to put it bluntly, a lot of people saying, "Hey, these other people are already doing it. Oh, this other promotion is doing this." I'm like, I understand that.
Better be safe
I-
than sorry.
I wasn't gonna throw this out there, but since we're talking about it, I'm gonna throw it out there. I just got released back into society because I tested positive for COVID-19, and I've been quarantined for a month, and I went to my folks' house because it was easier for me to self-quarantine there. I was away from my wife and kids for a month, and I was at my folks' house. So my dad, you know, helped take care of me and everything. I also spent a week in the hospital. So forgive me if I want to be a little overly cautious. Not only because I don't want to get it again, I don't want to give it to anybody. And it was tough. I was in the hospital for a week. I mean, you hear, now I'm going on a tangent, I know, but let me just speak on this for a second, because you hear a lot of stuff. A lot of people don't want to wear masks, this and that, complaining about this, not being able to go here, do this, celebrate this like they want to, and it's a fake virus, whatever you want to say. Like, there's been people who have gotten it that hadn't had any symptoms at all. I think Jimmy Johnson went through that. He had a false positive, or he didn't have any symptoms. The NASCAR driver, he didn't have any symptoms. There's people that have had it that didn't even know it because they didn't have any symptoms. There's been people that have had more mild symptoms a couple of weeks, and they were right back at it. Then on the other side, there's been people who died from it. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, they're calling everything," you know. I know the conspiracy theories. Okay, I'm not going to get into all that, but there's people dying. With my case, it started off mild, and then 2 weeks in, it floored my ass. And there were times like I was scared. I wasn't necessarily scared that I was going to die, but I was feeling so bad that it you know, you start thinking of, you know, some thoughts start going through your mind. And so I'm feeling a lot better now. But it took me, you know, once they released me from the hospital. Originally, when I was diagnosed with it, they said quarantine for 2 weeks, and once you don't have a fever for 3, then you're getting back right. Well, when I went into the hospital and they released me, it was 2 more weeks of quarantine, and again, 3 weeks with 3 days without a fever. Well, I went 2 weeks without a fever. And Friday I got checked out. I talked to the doctor, I talked to the health department, and they cleared me to get back. But still taking precautions, still washing hands, doing all that. A lot of people are making a big deal, you know, about all this. Well, getting COVID-19 effing sucks, let me tell you. You do not want to get it. Now, I understand people who say, oh, they're trying to force this on us, tell us what to do. And I'm just like, man, just wear a mask. Come on. I mean, it's not really that big a deal. I understand some people can't wear a mask. I understand this. I understand that. And I'm not talking to those people. I'm just talking to the people who, you know, it's like I saw some people online. Oh, I can't do this. And I'm like, I can't do anything. I'm quarantined. You know, I have the health department calling me, asking me all these questions, and I can barely think straight. They're asking me all these questions, telling me all this stuff. I feel, you know, like, well, I'll cut this short, but I felt really, really bad. And until you have a serious case of it, you don't really know. And so because of that, because I had it, I know what it's like. We're being overly cautious. And when we do come back, there will probably be a lot of precautions at the shows that people are just going to have to understand and deal with. We're not trying to tell anybody what to do. We're just trying to make sure that the HCWA family is going to be healthy, that the wrestlers are going to be healthy. Everybody who works the show is going to stay healthy, because believe me, you don't want this shit. And a lot of people have said, well, I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like, you know, this and that. I'm like, well, you know, that's on you. But I've had it. I speak from experience. It's rough.
We've got to wear a mask all day at work, 8, now 10-hour days, and even 4 hours a day. You know, but we wear HCWA masks.
And, you know, I'm sorry I got off on that tangent. I was really, you know, I hadn't really told a whole lot of people. I've told those people that I was in contact with before that. But I know it's a big topic right now. When are you guys coming back? And like I said, we will be back.
When the time is right.
When the time is right, and we can make sure, because right now it's still spiking. I mean, they're talking about reopening and restarting all this stuff, and cases are still spiking. So we're keeping an eye on it, and believe me, HCWA will be back, but we will be back when it is safe for everybody. Because God forbid we do a show, and then a show or two, and then we gotta go on break again because half the locker room is sick now. I mean, that's what we're thinking about. And I know the fans have passion. They love HCWA. They want to get back to shows, and I know the wrestlers want to get back in there too. But we gotta be safe, people, and that's the bottom line. And we can move on to your next question now, if you got any more questions. And I'm sorry, but I just had to get that off my chest. I just had to be real for a minute. You know, I've been debating, you know, how much I wanted to tell people about it, and it just kind of came out. But that's where we're coming from with
talking is therapeutic,
the restart. That's where we're coming from with the restart. HCWA will be back, but it'll be when Robbie and I, the brain trust, not just Robbie and I'll say the brain trust of HCWA decides it's the right time. And that's all I have to say about that. So.
All right, JB, what are your future goals in wrestling?
Future goals in wrestling. Well, getting to 10 years, that's a big milestone. You know, we'll be really proud if we can be in this business for a decade. Like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people thought that we weren't going to last a couple of shows. You know?
And some of them's already gone.
And they didn't last as long as we had.
HCWA's got staying power with fans.
That is true. So we take a lot of pride in that. You know, obviously, I'm not even sure what our goals were when we started this business. It was, we just you know, we wanted to have a successful promotion. We wanted to give some guys, there's been a lot of guys that we've seen that weren't getting an opportunity, that deserved an opportunity in this business. And, you know, at this point, you know, for me, and I think Robbie would echo this too, at this point, you know, it's less for us and more for the guys, giving them somewhere that they can come and showcase
they can hone their craft.
Skills. And you know, we've had some guys that that have come and gone and come back again and everything, and you know, sometimes that's caused a little drama. But you know, we're at the point now where, hey man, if you can get bookings at other shows and you can get your name out there, go do it. I mean, and we've had some guys. I mean, there's one. Okay, I'm gonna drop a name, and he got his start with us. He was with the other promotion, that Robbie and I worked with, and he was with us. Adam Page, who's the Hangman Adam Page now, who's half of the tag team champions and
with Kenny Omega
with
and AEW.
With AEW, yes. He started with us. I'm not going to, you know, I'll just leave it. I'll leave it with that. Adam Page, you know, got his start with us, and look where he is now. If we could get more guys, I mean, we've got guys. I'll drop another name that's in HCWA, and you know, he's been on talking about his career online a little bit, but and Robbie and I have talked about him. Bobby Yella. Bobby Yella's got a lot of potential. I could see him as a guy. And,
Raven Havoc.
And well, Raven Havoc's been all over the place doing that extreme stuff. I mean, he's
Deathmatch.
you know, he's
The new deathmatch icon.
in deathmatch. He's approaching legend status. You know, and like, you know, though
he's not
that
even 30
style
years old yet, is he?
Though that style's not
He's
not my favorite. I'm proud of him.
I am too.
I'm proud of him for
He's done a hell
doing
of a
his
job.
thing, what he wants to do.
Raven Havoc is in Tennessee tonight.
Raven doing his thing. Is it death match?
Yeah, I think
Of course,
he's,
yeah,
I
of
think
course.
he's going up against the Suicide King, Brad Cash.
But yeah, and he's another one. So at this point, you know, I would say definitely our goal is to keep HCWA going. The main goal, the first goal, like I touched on before, is restarting, which we will when the time is right. I've said enough about that. That's the current goal. Like I said, reaching 10 years is a goal. The other is just helping these guys get as big as they possibly can. I mean, some guys are going to stay in the independents, you know, but there are, and we've seen
Well,
it.
and
There's a
that's
lot of
okay.
guys that
That's okay
that have
because
gone up to,
when
you know,
you go to the big places, there's a lot of commitment. You're
Yeah.
on the road 300 and some
Oh,
days
yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
You miss your family, your friends, your everything. So
yeah.
if you can find your niche in promotion, independence, and that you like the promotion, they treat you well, and you want to stay there, there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, you know, and you talk about some other lofty goals. It would be great, you know, we talked about us being on the
BTW 21.
BTW 21. Hey, it'd be nice to be on the cable network. I mean, you know, it'd be nice to be on some kind of TV, you know, weekly.
We might even get our face
that
on
would
the
be
cover
really-
of a Rolling
really good.
Stone, JB.
Hmm?
Might even get our face on the cover of a Rolling Stone.
On the cover of Rolling Stone. Okay, nobody but like 40-year-olds are gonna know what that song is. So we'll just move along. But you know, obviously, yeah. I mean, we want to take HCWA as far as it'll go. You know, being on TV would be great. You know, packing out a place like the Greensboro Coliseum. I mean, you know, there are certain things that we would love to do that we just gotta get there. I mean, you know, we gotta sell out the Armory, you know, every time too, you know. So we definitely have goals like that, you know. Without goals, without a dream, you know, like you're just gonna be just running on a treadmill. So we definitely want to take HCWA to as high as it'll go, whatever that may be. And like I said before, you know, we're just trying to help the guys out. Like, really, you know, I'm happy either way. If JB Smooth gets famous and he gets his face on the cover of something, that would be cool. But that's not necessarily my main goal. My main goal is if we have a few guys that reach that level, you know, then I'm happy. And you know, if we're putting on shows, and you know, we're putting on shows, we're bringing the fans in, you know, I'm happy with that.
All right, my next question is, what is your most memorable match that you've been a part of or either helped put together as president?
My most memorable match oh man, that's 9 years of matches, man. We just talked about how my memory wasn't good, man. Lawdog.
Okay.
Now you ask me. I'm just messing with you, man. Well, I I touched on one. Obviously, the cage match with Robert Stanley. I mean, I mean, my face was emblazoned on the cover of the DVD with with that look on my face when he had me in the rings of Saturn. The camera guy was actually able to get right up in there. So
right up in the grill.
So that cage match definitely sticks out. As far as like matches that I've been in, I haven't been in that many, so they're all memorable, you know, for a certain reason. Obviously, at the Madison Mad Ann Rec Center, getting pile driven by. You would think I wouldn't remember that one, but I'll always remember getting pile driven by. You would think that would be erased from my memory, but I do remember that, mainly because people told me about it and I saw it on video. So that sticks out, and I actually tag team with I'll drop another name, Johnny Roxville, which is a big, you know, fans love him. He's been one of our, you know, he'll always be humble, but he's an ACWA superstar for sure. He's been one of our guys. Big, you know, the crowd just loves him, especially the ladies. But it was an honor, you know, not being trained that much. It was an honor to tag team with Johnny Roxville. I'll put that out. I always remember that, and you know, I appreciate the opportunity of that. There was the match when my current bodyguard 3J3 and I were on different sides. I think that's when he was aligned with Mr. Stanley when Robbie was on the other side, and I think I can't remember. I think that match was for control of the company, maybe, and that's when Mahoney took over control for a time. But anyway, 3J3 was locked in the little cage beside the ring, so he couldn't interfere, and he punched a hole in the side of the cage and grabbed me and pulled me in and knocked me out pretty good. And the cage, the gauge of it was a little bit more than like a dog cage that you see. I mean, it was pretty thick. He knocked me for a loop. So you would think I wouldn't remember that either.
And now he's your bodyguard.
But hey, like I said, you know,
a reversible fortune
in this business, you know, you get in a feud with a guy and then you wind up, or your team's with a guy, you get in a feud with a guy and then you team up with them again. You know, it happens. You know, we're humans. You know, we do things and then we make amends. You know, and you know. I'll just say it. Robbie and my friendship's been through a lot. Been through a lot of ups and downs. I mean, there's been time. I mean, you know, we've both been loyal to each other, but there's been times when he's wanted to choke me. I've wanted to choke him. We've had disagreements. You know, some are, you know, you know, we don't agree on certain things. There's some things that we've just decided that we're just not going to talk about.
That keeps it interesting, though, so they don't get boring.
But we've come through a lot, and we're still, you know, we're still friends. We're in this together, running this business. So you know, it happens. And when you go through, I mean, that's a test, and that's what a true friend is that you can get so mad at somebody that you want to kick their ass, but then it blows over and you love them to death.
You wind up hugging it out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it really comes down to. And that's not only, you know, Robbie, that's extended to the whole HCWA family too. And I think that's a testament to how we've tried to run this company.
Y'all are brothers, brother.
And you know, and we've tried to create that, you know, atmosphere of family in the locker room, with the guys, anybody who works with us and works for us, and all the fans too. I mean, that's what it's really all about is family. And you're not gonna agree with family all the time. You're not gonna get along with family all the time. But at the end of the day, you're still gonna love them because of everything you've been through together. And our fans have come through.
Time segment again for us.
Okay, yeah, I think the director's giving us the wrap it up sign, but so I forget what the question was, but yeah, I mean the family's a big thing, and we're talking about memorable matches,
Right.
and the blood on the dance floor match where I made Matt Mahoney bleed, that was memorable too. But okay, so I guess we're getting the wrap up message.
All right, I got one more question.
one-
It could be a quick one.
Okay.
You mentioned Johnny Roxwell being a superstar. What are some of the superstars from the big promotions that you have met?
Well, Jimmy Valiant, Tommy Dreamer, Christopher Daniels, ODB.
I want to meet ODB.
Bam! She spanked me on the ass several times. It was pretty cool.
Lucky
it was pretty
you.
cool.
God.
Oh, who am I forgetting? Hot female wrestler.
Lita.
No.
Candice Michelle.
Same country. Gosh, I can't remember. I can't
Oh,
believe
Mickey
it.
James.
Mickey James. Met Mickey James. I've at some conventions and stuff at WrestleCade met King Lawler, Mick Foley, who's one of my all-time favorites too. I mentioned Booker T before. Mick is probably my number. He's up there. Probably my favorite guy, just because he's so tough. But there's some others too. I can't remember. Since we're wrapping this up, but yeah, my memory's kind of failing me now. Put on the spot. But yeah, Mick Foley, and at WrestleCade, there's so many there that I've seen. I've been real close to that didn't necessarily go up and speak with, but then Luke Gallows, actually hung out with Luke Gallows, after wrestling. We won't say what we were doing, but hung out with Luke Gallows, and that was really fun to get to know him a little bit. So yeah, I would say though, getting smacked on the ass by ODB was probably the most fun.
I envy you. My God, I envy you. I love ODB. But anyway, that's it. That was the final question, and this has been Shooting with the Lawdog with the president of HCWA, JB Smooth.
And as always, if you can't be good, be smooth. And if you can't be smooth, then just be.
I'm the Lawdog Brent Lawson. The Gothic superstar Devin Graves is behind the camera, and we'll see you at a show as soon as we can. We're out, guys.